Picture this. You just dropped a massive $1,640 USD on a brand new ultra-tier RTX 5070 Ti graphics card. You boot up your favorite game, you lower the graphics to 1080p to guarantee maximum performance, and it stutters. It drops frames. It feels choppy. You spent a fortune for the ultimate gaming experience, made the game as easy to run as humanly possible, and your PC is still struggling. It completely defies logic, right?
So why on earth is this happening? Well, to figure it out, we're going to surgically break down a massive debate that's tearing through the PC building community right now. It's a fascinating case study. We are looking at a system pairing the incredibly reliable mid-range Intel i5-12400F processor with the absolute monster that is an RTX 50 series graphics card. Now, on paper, you'd think this is a brilliant budget allocation. Spend less on the CPU, dump all your cash into the GPU. But in practice, people are reporting totally bizarre performance tanks at 1080p. To understand why this massive investment is giving such subpar results, we have to talk about the invisible wall holding your system back.
The culprit here is what we call a bottleneck, and I want to break this down with radical simplicity so it's impossible to misunderstand. Imagine a high-end restaurant kitchen. Your graphics card, the GPU, is a team of lightning-fast Michelin-star chefs throwing out plates of food at breakneck speed. Your processor, the CPU, well, that's the single, relatively slow waiter who actually has to carry those plates out to the customers. Listen, it literally does not matter how fast those chefs cook. If your waiter can't carry the plates out quickly enough, the chefs are just going to stand around, twiddling their thumbs, waiting for the waiter to come back. That standing around, that's your lost performance. And that translates directly into the frustrating stutters you're feeling on your screen.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, decoding the CPU ceiling and understanding workloads.
We need to look at how monitor resolution directly shifts the workload inside your PC. Because honestly, this is where the solution to our stuttering mystery is hiding. And it is so counterintuitive. To fix bad performance, we actually need to make the game harder to run. Here is the golden rule of PC gaming workloads. At lower resolutions, like 1080p, your graphics card has a super easy job. It's rendering frames so unbelievably fast that it just floods the processor with data. The CPU simply cannot feed it instructions quickly enough, and boom, you have a massive bottleneck. But when you crank that game up to 4K, the whole workload flips. Drawing an image in 4K is really difficult for the GPU. It takes way more time to render each frame, which essentially gives your slower CPU plenty of time to catch its breath and deliver the next set of instructions. Bumping up the resolution shifts all that heavy lifting away from the CPU and dumps it right back onto the GPU where it belongs.
To put that into perspective, let's look at some real-world data. In wildly demanding games like Battlefield 6, users rocking that i5-12400F and a 5070 Ti are seeing their GPU usage just sit there at 75 to 80% on 1080p. Think about that. 20% of your phenomenally expensive graphics card's power is completely wasted. It's doing nothing. And the result? Severe stutters, what we call those dreaded 1% lows. If you move up to 1440p, yeah, things improve a bit, but you're still hitting a noticeable ceiling. It is only when you push it to 4K that the GPU usage maxes out at a beautiful 99% and the gameplay finally gets butter smooth.
And guys, this isn't just theory. This is exactly what gamers are experiencing in the wild right now. Take a look at this community quote from a user with this exact setup. They noticed their GPU usage was wildly fluctuating at 1440p. I mean, sometimes dropping all the way down to a measly 10%. But the absolute second they forced the game to run at 4K, their GPU usage locked in at a rock-solid 99%. By pushing their system way harder with a 4K workload, they essentially forced the graphics card to take the burden off their struggling CPU.
Alright, so how do we solve this? Let's get into Section 2, actionable fixes that require zero financial cost. Because let's be real, what if you don't actually own a 4K monitor? Are you just doomed to play on a stuttering $1,640 USD graphics card? Absolutely not. The community has stress-tested 4 fantastic software tweaks that can stabilize your system literally right now. Step 1. Force Windows into high-performance mode. You do not want your CPU trying to save power while you're in the middle of a firefight. Step 2. Temporarily disable FreeSync. Sometimes it just conflicts with uneven frame delivery and makes things worse. Step 3. Dive into your BIOS and manually set your PCIe lane to Gen 4 instead of Auto. This guarantees maximum bandwidth to the GPU. And Step 4. Honestly, the most effective one. Use a software like Riva Tuner to strictly cap your maximum frames per second. By artificially limiting the frame rate, you stop the GPU from completely overwhelming the CPU, which instantly smooths out those choppy frame times. It's a real game changer. And this brilliantly illustrates our ultimate software trick, Dynamic Super Resolution, or DSR. Remember that user we talked about who played at 4K even though they only owned a 1440p monitor? This is exactly how they pulled it off. DSR allows your graphics card to internally render the game at a massive 4K resolution. This forces the GPU to a 99% load, completely bypassing your CPU bottleneck. Then, the NVIDIA software neatly shrinks that massive 4K image down to fit perfectly onto your smaller 1440p or 1080p monitor.
But here is the crazy part. Not only does this completely fix the stutters, but it also gives you a massive competitive advantage. Because you're taking a highly detailed 4K image and squishing it onto a smaller screen, the pixel density goes through the roof. One tactical shooter player pointed out that this software trick completely changed their battlefield visibility. We're talking about spotting enemies clearly at 1,000 meters away in War Thunder, a distance that was just a blurry, pixelated mess at native 2K. So you're fixing your bottleneck, and you're getting literal eagle eye vision, all without spending a single dollar. No way, right?
Now, I have to be honest with you. Software tweaks can only take you so far if you're playing heavily CPU-bound games. If you want the ultimate brute force hardware fix to completely permanently eliminate those choppy 1% lows at lower resolutions, the community consensus is crystal clear. Spending roughly $230 USD to upgrade your processor to an i5-13600K or a 14600K is the move. It provides the exact single core speed and efficiency needed to finally unleash that 5070 Ti and let it run at its absolute maximum potential.
But wait, because the math is about to change. Section 3, 50 series frame gen and the new AI architecture.
As we escalate into the really technical stuff here, I need you to know that the hardware rules we just learned, they are fundamentally changing with next-gen architecture. Look at how the frame multiplier shifts the entire landscape. With the older 40 series cards, AI frame generation could essentially double your frames. Pretty great. But the new RTS 50 series doesn't just double them, it can scale up to 3x, 4x, and incredibly, even 6x frame generation. This throws an absolute massive curveball into traditional CPU bottleneck calculations. Because think about it, if the GPU is using AI to generate 6 frames for every single one frame the CPU actually processes, the CPU suddenly doesn't need to work nearly as hard. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is the insane stuff coming down the pipeline. Section 4, Next Gen Tech, VRAM, and Photonic Computing.
You see, frame generation is literally just the tip of the iceberg. We are tracking some mind-bending software miracles that are secretly slated to arrive in late 2026. First up is natural texture compression, or NTC. We all know modern games are just devouring video RAM, rendering older budget cards completely obsolete. Well, NTC technology is designed to mathematically shatter those physical limits. Using some incredibly advanced compression, it can virtually expand an 8GB VRAM card to act like a 13GB card. It's even rumored to compress massive 100GB game files down to just 25GB. This software miracle is going to single-handedly save budget PC builders from the current memory crisis, giving cheaper graphics cards a massive second lease on life.
And if you want pure science fiction turned reality, let's talk about photonic computing. The ultimate enemy of all PC performance right now is heat, right? When a CPU gets too hot, it slows down. It thermal throttles. Well, photonic processors rely on light particles, photons, rather than physical transistors and electricity. And because they run on light, they generate virtually zero heat. This represents a sci-fi future where heat-induced performance drops simply do not exist. Imagine building a gaming rig where your processor literally never overheats, no matter how ridiculously hard you push it. So, what does this all mean for us? I want to leave you with this to ponder. We started this explainer by manually downscaling game resolutions just to bypass a struggling, overwhelmed processor. But as we look toward a future with AI that multiplies frames by 6, software that basically doubles your physical memory, and processors that are literally powered by cool light, we have to ask, will software compression and light-based hardware eventually eliminate the need to ever upgrade our PCs again? It's a fascinating, boundary-breaking future, and honestly, we cannot wait to see it unfold.
If you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell to the later update from my channel. Thank you for watching till the end and see you in the next video.